would like to speak to not only our people here in America, our government, to be more specific, but also to other nations, governments who are members of the United Nations. We need to understand that the partition plan of 1947 was not a fair partition. We know that. None of you would have liked for a bunch of people to come into your country at once. This was done because the Jews were being persecuted by the Nazis. It's true. And it is true that, there's such a thing as the land of our inheritance. But we need to understand that Israel is Jacob. Jacob had 12 tribes, 12 sons. And Judah, the Jews, and Joseph, Ephraim, will become one family again. We are the aliens all over the earth. We've got people in the United States from Venezuela, from Cuba, from Vietnam, from Puerto Rico, from Brazil, from Mexico. And we're not the ones who pushed the Native Americans out of their own land. But the Native Americans have had less and less and less and less been oppressed by a government that oppressed not only the Native Americans, but the Black Afro-Americans and other minorities. But there's good news. In Jeremiah 31, which is the Old Testament of our Bible, and it's for Jews and Gentiles alike. See, Jeremiah is before me all day long. Jeremiah and Paul. They're before me, and they've told me the weeping is done. The fighting is done. This is good news to the churches. Who's the church? The churches. Who are the churches? You are the faithful people. The people who believe in God, in one true God, in the God of Jacob. Israel is not a breed or a race. We are the human race. We came from one root. And Jews and Gentiles will be and are being nourished by the same root. The people of Israel is the people who believe in the God of Jacob. Before there was Judah, much less Joseph, much less Ephraim. But remember that Ephraim will be the firstborn of the Spirit. The Gentiles are the last, will be the first. Believe. I would not be saying this if I didn't see it. I would not be saying this if I didn't hear it. I would not be saying this if it weren't true. My heart aches for the people of Palestine. It hurts because they have less and less and less and less. They're being forced out of their land the same way the Jews were forced out by the Nazis, out of their own countries where they were. Jews need to understand that Palestine people are human beings and are the human race. They have a common ancestor, which is Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the way back to Noah. So what are you doing? Don't do unto others what was done unto you. Why don't we restore not only Israel, which is Palestine, Israel, why don't we restore it and have it be a land of freedom and fairness and justice for all? For Jews and Muslims alike. 50-50. If you have the technology and the resources, because the resources were there in the land, which is Palestine, but also the earth. The resources are there. We should not be withholding water from anyone, because water is our God-given gift from God Himself. You have no right to be withholding water. How would you like that being done unto you? There's all kinds of excuses for throwing bombs at one another. Oh, well, they have this terrorist group and this other terrorist group. Oftentimes, that's just an excuse. People have the right to assemble. They have the right to belong to a group of their choice. Whether it's a religion or any other group for that matter. This is our God-given freedom. So if they call themselves whatever they will, how is that a threat to you? Who started throwing bombs first? Who started denying water first? Who started oppressing people first? If we are rebuilding the land of Israel, in the actual country Israel, then we may as well rebuild for everyone who lives there. Palestinian people too. If you're already rebuilding, give them. Just like we cannot fit everybody and their brother in America at once, not everybody and their brother can fit in Israel at once. And it's not possible for all Jews to go to Israel at once because it is not humanly possible. If you had all of the hair on top of your head that was going to be there from the moment you were born until the moment you die, all of it, without shedding, without getting a haircut, you would have hair that you wouldn't know what to do with. So Jews need to understand that the land of their inheritance is the land of our inheritance too. The Gentiles, the people of Israel, the people of Jacob, the descendants of Jacob. The whole earth. Folks, the United Nations cannot continue to be allowing this injustice. How long has it been? I don't get paid to sit in your position. I don't get paid to write, nor do I get paid to speak. I do it because I have to, because it is right, because I've been given this responsibility, this message to deliver to you. The Spirit of truth never dies. I have nothing to fear and nothing to hide. The only one I fear and trust 100% is my Papa God. And so should you. We cannot continue to allow the country of Israel to continue to deny water and basic necessities to people, whether they're from Palestine or from anywhere. Just like America cannot continue to have everybody and their brother over here at once, because it is not humanly possible, because it's going to take away from our own poor, our own resources. We've got to understand that the land, there are some places that are so dilapidated that need to be restored. And there's other places that have water that's so polluted that's just right down dangerous. Not only for the people who live in that area, but for the whole earth. Folks, if we must go back all the way to the beginning, I will be glad to highlight it for you. God has given you dominion, self-dominion, to rule over the water, the air, and the land, and all that lives in it. All that lives in it. Not dominion over other people. He made man and women in his image, which is none in particular, because we're black and white and Native American and Hindu and Asian and all the races. That's why God says, do not make an image of me. And I'm certainly not out of wood or stone, because the ark was made out of wood. But the real ark is our chest, in our midst. And our hearts of stone, remember, two become one. Our hearts of stone, the law that was written, the law of Moses that was written in stone, is in the ark, which is made out of wood. But the real ark, it's in our midst, our chest, and the heart, stone, transformed into a real heart, two become one, stone heart, is inside our chest. And it's not out of stone anymore, no. It is out of flesh. And Judah, Papa God has forgiven your sin. So you go on and forgive your brother. I don't want to see any more shenanigans among you. Oh, but they are the enemy. They have a group, a terrorist group. What is a terrorist? What y'all are doing is right down of a terrorist. Throwing bombs, denying basic necessities in our land. You would not want that done unto you and your people, so why are you doing it? God has forgiven your sin, so you go on and forgive. Thank you.